Hi everyone, Sean here from Mako Create, and today we're going to be looking at how we can make really cool animated videos and put them inside TikTok. So here's an example of what we're going to be trying to do today. So I've done my very best dance move, which is a brush off the shoulder, and I've kind of animated some like neon dust coming off my shoulders, I guess you could say. So let's hit that play button. There we go. So I've got that blue dust coming off my shoulders when I'm doing it, ready to upload to TikTok and impress all of my followers. So yeah, what we're going to be doing is having a go at showing you how you can do this and then make even better things with this cool app. All right, so let's jump in then. So today we're going to be using an app called Flipperclip. It's a brilliant app. It allows you to create all sorts of different types of animations. I love Flipperclip because it's a free app. It does have options to purchase, so you don't have to see adverts and you don't have to put watermarks and things like that on, but it's available on Apple. I'm going to be using an iPad today, but it's available on Google Play Store as well. So no matter if you've got a Google phone or an Android or an Apple phone, you can use it on tablets. It's really versatile and available loads of places. So once you've downloaded it, it'll look something like this. Obviously, I've got a couple of projects in here already that I've been working on, but what we need to do is start a new project. And to do that, we click on this plus button here. So as what we're going to be doing today is called rotoscoping, which essentially just means animating on top of video. We need to set up our project so it's ready to do this. So the first thing that I'm going to do is give my animation a name. So because I'm going to be sending this off to TikTok, I'm going to call it TikTok. But you can call it whatever you'd like to. The next thing that we need to do is choose a background. Now, in this case, because we're going to be animating on top of a video, the background doesn't actually matter too much. So I'm just going to leave that one as it is. What is important is choosing the canvas size. So currently it's set to YouTube 720. So I'm going to give that a click, and you can see that there's lots of different options. So although we're focusing on TikTok in this video, if you wanted to send a video to YouTube or to Instagram or anywhere else, Vimeo, Facebook, there's settings for all of them, but we are going to use TikTok, and I'm going to use 720p. The difference between 720 and 180 is that it's just size. 720 is half as big, but it's still HD, so I still think it's pretty good, and I use it for most of my stuff, so I'm going to use the 721. Click the tick button. And then once we're happy with that, the last thing to do is to choose your frame rate. By default, it starts at 12. I quite like 12. If we go lower, you can see that it kind of like becomes less in quality. There's less frames per second. And if we go higher, it kind of goes higher in quality. A lot of professional films and things are shot at 24 to 30 frames per second. But the problem with doing that is that it means that we have to draw twice as many frames, and so it takes twice as long. So I'm going to go back down to the suggested 12 frames per second and give that a tick. All right, cool. And now I've got this all set up. I'm just going to create a project by hitting that big red button there. It says create project. And we've got it in. And so we've got a kind of very portrait style canvas here for us to be able to draw on top of. But what we need to do first and foremost is to add in our video that we want to put over the top of. So I've previously made one, a Blue Peter in it. So to import a video, we go on these three buttons up here, and then these three dots, I should say. And then inside this, we've got lots of different options, but we're looking for the one that's second from the bottom, just above Make Movie, is Add Video. And if we give that a click, it comes up with three options: camera, video library, or file. This is because I'm on an iOS device, so it lets me film directly in, choose from my video library, or bring in from a file. I know that if you're using it on an Android device, it normally just jumps straight to your video files, so you'll want to have pre-recorded the video before starting to do your animation if you're working on an Android device. So I'm going to go to my video library, and in my recents, here we go. I've got a nice one of me that's 4 seconds long here. So, and this part, you just double checking this is a video that you want to use. You can kind of scroll across it, see what's in there. I've got me flicking my shoulders a little bit. Lovely. I'm happy with that. I'm going to click on use. And then no matter what device you're working on, it'll give you this section here. Now, in the free version of the app, you're only allowed a maximum of a 6-second video. If you want a longer one in TikTok, you could do lots of different videos and stick them together with inside TikTok, but I'm going to keep it nice and short. And in fact, when you're animating, you do want it to be kind of like as short as possible. So I'm actually going to see if I can take a few frames off here and maybe a few frames off here. And yeah, just to save me on some of my animation. So this is how you cut the frame down. You just move these red bars here. So maybe once I've got, yeah, maybe from there to there. And when you're happy with your video, you just click on the tick in the top right hand corner. This does the processing, and then we're into the animating on it. So this is a really, really important step. What you want to be able to do to give you a little bit more control is to add another layer here. If you draw directly onto this frame that's in here, it's really difficult to delete something. So for example, if I just draw something here, and then I do something over here, and maybe I do something I really like, because you can just undo, which is the easiest way of getting it. But if it's something that I've forgotten about or only noticed later on, when I try and rub it out, I actually rub out the video in there as well. So number one tip when you're doing this is to, just going to undo them a little bit, is to add in a new frame. So to do that, we click in the bottom right hand corner here, and we actually already have a layer set up, so we don't need to make a new one, but we can click on this one, and you can tell that it's selected when the red bar, which is currently on the video on the preview there, but when we click on layer 1, the red bar goes onto that layer, and we know that that's selected there. We can also rename these layers if we want to and things like that, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to keep it nice and easy. But I just want to make sure it's selected. And the best way I think of layers, if anyone's done any Photoshop or anything like that in the past, they'll understand layers, but basically means where things sit on top of each other. If you imagine like looking at the video, whatever layers at the top, that's what you're going to see first. A little bit like a sandwich. Cool. So I'm going to look through my video and decide where I want to put things. So I want to have like some kind of like imaginary dust kind of going off my shoulders when I flick them. So I'm going through the frames, and about here, frame 7 is the first time that I'm going to see any animation. So to scroll through your frames, you can just put your finger at the bottom and go through it and find them. So I'm going to start on this frame here. Cool. Now, when animating, you've got a couple of different options. You can use your fingers to draw on the screen, or you can use a stylus. I'm going to be using a stylus today, but everything that you do, you don't need one. You can do it perfectly well with your fingers when you're doing it. We've got a few options in terms of brushes. If I click on the kind of fine liner pen on the left side of the screen, it brings up a few extra options. This lets me, just below it, lets me choose how thick it is. So the higher I go, the bigger it is. The lower I go, the smaller it is. So to change that, you just click on it and just drag it. And then underneath it, we've got a black box, and this is our color wheel. And this helps us choose what color we want. So you spin the color wheel around to where you want to go. I'm going to go with a nice purple, I think, to start with. And then the box in the middle is how bright you want it. So top left is white, bottom left or right is black, and then if we go top right, that is really kind of bright. And because it's like a TikTok kind of bright video, I think I'm going to go for a bright color. I've just spotted I've got like a pink poster behind me actually there, so I think I'm actually going to go with blue, just so it stands out a little bit better. So I'm going to go with blue. If I wanted to, I've got a couple of different options in brushes. So I've got the fine liner selected at the moment, but I've got a pencil, I've got a brush, and I've got a highlighter. All work slightly differently, but for this video, I'm going to stick with that, with the fine liner, because I think it'll work nicer on my design. So I'm going to give it a click, and let me just have a look at my brush size. I'm going to make it a tiny bit thinner. Maybe a bit more. Yeah, that's about what I want. My favorite button in the world is right at the top of the screen, just here. It's a backwards facing arrow. So if you do anything like this, where it's a little mistake, if you just click back and back and back, it gets rid of it. So nice and easy. You can delete stuff, but my favorite way of doing it, nice and quick, just hitting that undo button if you put something in there that you're not too keen on. So I'm going to start off by just putting a few little lines in here. And so at that point, I've just got a few lines, and then I'm going to go into the next frame. And what I'm actually going to do is turn on onion skinning, and that just means I can see what's happened in the last frame. So I can kind of see, I should be able to see now, hopefully. I go onto this one, see some frames. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see these red marks here, here, and here. And so I'm going to go bigger. I'm going to make these longer this time. I'm going to not go over my hand. Maybe I'll have one coming out here as well this time. Then I'm going to go to the next frame, and I'm actually going to turn this onion skinning so it's black and white so I can see it a little bit better. There we go, that's better. So I'm going to go even larger, this one. And what I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that I'm not going through my hand. So it's almost like my hand's in front of the paint that's going. So let's have a quick look back on them frames. And then what I might have now is, that's quite a nice one. I might start to do a little bit of a cloud appearing on the next one. So maybe a little bit longer again. This one, suddenly my finger's out of the way of it. So I need to be able to see it from the beginning. Almost look like Wolverine. Let's have a quick look at that. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with that length. I think I'm just going to have a cloud appear around it. Alright, so let's play that back. Let's see what that looks like. Lovely. Okay, so what I'm going to do to save myself a little bit of time is I'm going to do a little bit of copy and pasting. And so to do that, we use the lasso tool, which is here. And to do that, what we do is draw around our object that we want to copy. Now, because we've used layers, it means that we're only copying the thing from this layer rather than the picture behind it and things like that. So if I hit the copy tool, which is the two pieces of paper up here at the top, and then we go to the next frame, if we hit the clipboard, which is next to it, it goes straight over the top of it. And you can see that this fits in quite nicely here. But what I want to do is kind of have it so that the smoke's growing a little bit on there. So I'm going to add in some more stuff. So I'm going to go back to my pen. I'm going to add in some more smoke. And what I might do is just to kind of give it a little bit of an illusion of movement, I'm going to delete some of these previous ones. So there's the eraser tool just here. I'm just going to draw them back in, but just slightly moved a little bit. All right, and let's have a look at that. Perfect. Yeah, I really like that. Okay, so that's pretty much everything that you need to know to get started with it. So I'm just going to get busy doing this. And yeah, we'll see you at the end when we finished it off. Okay, so I've rushed through this a little bit, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with the results. So what I'm going to do is just zoom out a little bit so I can see the whole frame and hit that play button on the right hand side of the frame to have a look through it. Yeah, so nice and simple, but what we wanted to just show you is how you can kind of start being creative with this, start bringing things to life, making things appear that weren't there. There's kind of unlimited different ways that you could be able to use this to make your videos more interesting and yeah, help bring them to life and give them that thing that helps them stand out a little bit more on TikTok. So The last thing that we need to do is to export this video so it's ready to go onto TikTok. So to do that, what we need to do is click on these three dots in the top right hand corner. And from there, the very bottom option here is called Make a Movie, or Make Movie, sorry. So we give that a click. It asks you a couple of things. Firstly, do you want to rename it? So I'd suggest you want to have a unique name for each of your videos. So yeah, something that you'll remember. The second thing is the format. So we already set the format at the beginning, so that's fine. You don't need to change that, which is TikTok 720. MP4 is fine as well. So we don't need to, I've got a paid version, so I can take off the Flipperclip logo. If you're using a free version of the app, unfortunately, it probably make you put the logo on there, but it's not that bad for a free app to have a watermark on there. And then the last thing we're going to do is click Make Movie. Just before we do that, you can see that how long the clips are at the bottom here. So I can see that this is going to be a 3-second clip with 36 frames at 12 frames a second. So now I'm happy. I can click Make Movie. It goes through it making it, and we can hit the play button here to preview it. Brilliant. And then once that is done, you can click the share button. And then if we click the share button, it automatically gives you the options for sharing to YouTube and to Facebook. There's also a more button there. So if a quick look on the more button, you might be able to find apps that you're looking for inside here. There you go, TikTok, and you could upload it directly to TikTok through there. Depending on the device that you're using, it might be that there is slightly different options. So if you're on an Android or a Google Pixel, slightly different results and slightly different ways of exporting it, but you can always save to your device. And then once you've saved to your device, you'll be able to upload that to anywhere from the inbuilt media library inside the device that you're working on. Cool. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and that you come up and make something really cool with it. I look forward to seeing some of your finished videos on TikTok. Be sure to tag us and stuff so we can see what you've done. Thanks very much. See you all soon.